All right, if you're just joining us, we're discussing how big the horse needs to be for Eigenmode to ride it. And if you remember, Eigenmode is a Forgeborn who is essentially a robot. So
In full plate armor, a robot in full plate armor. So he's
stop forcing my hand here on making you buy a huge horse. I don't want to have to do that.
Can I
if I'm
do
gonna
a
buy a huge
knowledge
horse, I'm
local?
just gonna get an elephant.
Can I do a knowledge local to see how hard it would be to buy an elephant or mastodon
Yeah.
in this area?
Roll it.
All right.
It's impossible.
You didn't even hear my result.
I heard it. It
26.
It can't be any less than a natural 20 or any more than a natural 20.
What about a rhino?
Just buy the horse. Just buy the horse, dude.
Hold on, wait. There's dinosaur prices.
All right. You're convincing me to allow you to buy a horse.
Okay.
You succeed.
I'll go 4 times the price of a good horse.
No, just double the price for a very fine horse whose back you're gonna splinter like a chicken bone because you're a robot in full plate mail.
Okay, a heavy combat trained horse is 300 gold.
All right, that is super fair, and I will rule that horse's backbone will never break.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna get him some barding too while I'm at it.
He has to be a very handsome horse because he's so big and strong.
Yeah.
Like the guys on the front of the romance novel books.
Yeah, except a robot.
The horse?
No, it's like imagine Eigenmode on the front, like posing as though it's a funny image because he's a robot and he's got a pretty much expressionless face.
I was gonna say the horse is the handsome one with the flowing mane like Fabio.
Yeah, that's the joke, is that he's just a robot. There's nothing sexual about him at all. It's not even,
I think we're talking about two different things. You're talking about sexy robots, and I'm talking about a handsome horse.
Yeah. But they're going to be together.
Why not both?
Yeah.
That's good. John, how's the poison purchasing going?
Good. I'm just going to get 5 vials of blue Winnis potion. Or poison.
Spell Winnis.
Winnis.
Cool. At least you're in charge of the poisons this time, and not our friend Aaron, who could not only not keep track of the poison names, he gave the craziest names for poisons.
So that's an injury poison. I'm gonna apply 2 instances of it to 2 of my shurikens and keep those separate.
Very, very carefully tucked away.
Yes, well, I do have the poison use special ability as a class, so while applying poisons, I cannot accidentally poison myself. I can accidentally poison myself while crafting poisons, but I'm not doing that. So
thank you. That's good. So, are you guys pretty close to being ready?
Yeah, I just gotta figure out how much barding costs. It's just based on the regular armor, but with a multiplier. So, because obviously you wouldn't want to make it regular.
You wouldn't want to make it a regular thing. Well, while you guys work on that, I'm going to introduce everybody to the 4th session of our little series here. We are lacking Justin again today. We'll miss him, but he is in a blizzard, or his flight was canceled because of a blizzard, or something. So we'll get him back next time. But fortunately, we have a cool side thing going in this universe with a robot and a ninja. So we're going to play that today.
Yeah.
One of the things that we had talked about kind of off screen that we're now going to bring on screen is what Eigenmode and Ishan are going to do now that they've gotten back to Soulworn and they've seen that there was obviously some commotion. The Lord's Guard are in town. They were doing some questioning. There was an altercation at a bar, and one of the bars burned down. Taverns, I should say. And that tavern being the Mare, M-A-R-E. So they're all kind of camped outside. Everybody's camped outside. Eigenmode had brought up that he knows that they are searching for people who bear the symbol because that's what Mortimer had said, the information that Mortimer had gathered. And Mortimer had pledged to help any characters who bore the mark. And so when these quote-unquote side characters returned to Soulworn, he sought them out. So Eigenmode came up with kind of a list of things, which I'm showing on screen here on the video. Just sort of an order of operations. Number 1, to take Hugo's wares outside of Soulworn to a camp. Number 2, Mortimer or a proxy reports that they have something to show the guards, that Robo Man outside wanted to sell them, and that they had the symbol on there. Then the guards would come to Eigenmode's camp. Eigenmode would try to talk to the guards and see what was going on with that, and then that was pretty much it. And then Ishan was going to wait in lie just in case things went south. So we did a series of rules on that, and we came up with some information about it, which I kind of need to find. Thankfully, we have a big old chat to tell us. So long story short, the Lord's Guard end up approaching Eigenmode while Ashan lies in wait off to the side, just in case things go bad. Moderately armored men and women, 3 of them come out of the town, and they're asking around looking for Eigenmode. They do end up finding him. Using a knowledge nobility check, Eigenmode gleans that they're just some background information on the Lord's Guard. Presumably anywhere from like 200 to 750. They're all well trained. The ones that come out to meet him are basically initiates, but even those are people to be considerate of. And that there's most likely an estimate of 25 of them in the city, and that if there was an all-out assault between the citizens or denizens of Soulworn and the Lord's Guard that there were in Soulworn now, it would probably be very heavy losses for both sides, not in anybody's best interest. So Eigenmode wanted to figure out why the Lord's Guard was seeking out the symbol. Wasn't able to make the diplomacy check. All he knows is that they are looking for people who bear the symbol for questioning. So basically, Eigenmode ended up communicating to them that the symbol could be found near the mountains on the road to the west and to the south where they came from in the second episode, and that the symbol was found on items in a cave populated by a giant. He never technically lied, so he never technically needed to make a bluff check.
Booyah.
He did make an intimidate check to kind of end the questioning, which he did succeed at. And in that exchange, Eigenmode learned that apparently the Lord's Guard does not consider that symbol an immediate threat, because they took one of the alchemist's flasks that had the symbol on it, investigated it, asked questions about it, and then gave it back. And that they basically are they're waiting to interrogate people who have the symbol, and that the Lord's Guard would be moving out probably on the next day. So that's where I'm going to put the 2 characters now, is that Ishan and Eigenmode are together. It's basically the middle of the day in the camp outside the city, and this has all just transpired. And we'll put the 2 characters together and let you guys have at it.
All right.
Well, do you think that it would behoove us to see what the guards really want? Do you think that they'll go out to the woods where you had directed them?
I don't know if they'll go out to the woods or not. That was why I said that, though, was hoping that they would go out to the woods. But it seems like they won't be here that much longer anyway, so I don't know.
Well, then I guess we either can spy on them in the woods, or just leave it be and let them leave town.
I expect their reaction to the signs in the woods to be about the same as their reaction to the signs on the potions that I had, which is to say interest, but they won't find anything because the signs don't point to anything anymore.
True. You didn't really leave anything for them to find. Well, at any rate, I suppose I don't care too much. It did kind of tickle my fancy to think of spying on them. It's been a while since I've had to do some real reconnaissance behind enemy lines, so to speak, and I guess I got carried away getting excited about that.
Yes. Well, I don't think that it's a bad idea necessarily, but I'm not as worried about the Lord's Guard as I was before that conversation. I think that maybe they didn't see you out here. I think if I go back into town, it's going to seem strange to them. But somebody should go to town and let Mortimer and Hugo know that they should lay low, that the Lord's Guard should be departing before too long.
Okay. I can go do that, and
Keep your head covered. Also,
yeah, as a descriptor, I think in general I would like to just be I walk around not with my head totally exposed at all
Okay.
times.
Wearing a
Like,
turban is what I'm hearing.
yeah, like, not to be too stereotypical with the ninja-ness, but
A head wrap, so to speak. There's no reason that you couldn't wear a bandana or a festive scarf.
it looked like this.
Let's see. There you go. That's an anime character for sure. Is he counting dollar bills?
He is counting money.
It looks like American dollars. I knew that was the main plot behind Naruto Saiyan Ninjas. Okay, so
So I
Sand
figure that I kind
dollars.
of walk around with some kind of wrapping around my head where it's mostly my eyes and nose exposed and not my forehead where the symbol is and not my mouth.
okay. So you can see that some of the residents are starting to trickle back in. It looks like the hubbub was mostly, hey, we need to get out of town because there's actually a big fire now and it's spreading to other buildings. As you get closer, you can sort of survey the damage. Fortunately, you've never been to Solwarn, but it appears that only one real building has been damaged, and the smoke is still kind of billowing out from that. Um, and some of the side buildings, it looks like, have been damaged to a point where they can't really be lived in anymore. But on the whole, the townscape looks pretty unaffected. And for anybody who's joining us or anybody who doesn't remember, Solwarn is kind of an encampment built right on the intersection of some major roads that run north and south and east and west. It's mostly what you would expect people to sort of build up. It's a plot convenience town. It's mostly like adventurers or people who trade with each other or people who are traveling and who need those accommodations. It's fortified on the outside by city walls, and that's about it. That's about what it is.
OOC, for Ishan's writ, his contract that he had gotten to escort this automata that bore the symbol.
Right.
What were the exact specifications of that? Where was the destination? I can't remember.
Good
Is
question.
it Solwarn or is it whatever you want it to be?
Yeah. It was basically escort the metal man to safely to the city. It really was no more specific than that. There's probably no more specificity than you needed. You probably didn't need it to be much more specific to do the job. But by all accounts, your character could reasonably assume that this was the writ.
I guess I would want to pursue notifying the nearest Morag Tong chapter completed my writ.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's like a post office or something.
How should we deal with the Morag Tong? What kind of check should that be? You should just know, shouldn't you?
You cut out. I'm sorry, I didn't hear any of that.
What kind of check should we make the Morag Tong? Is it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
You guys are like robotic, and I can't hear anything you're saying.
Okay.
Matt, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you
Okay.
sound fine to me, John.
I
You
can
sound
suddenly hear you now.
okay. Probably just a latency thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, my internet. Sorry.
What
So
kind of-
after I
What kind of check should we make the Morag Tong? Should it be a nobility thing? Should it be?
What do you mean, like contacting them, or?
Yeah. I mean, we never really even talked about this, but like, it's a group of people who don't like to be public and is probably not very well known to most people. So
Yeah. Well, I feel like if they have work for you, that they will find you. And
Right.
that you have a few set ways. I don't imagine they would have sent you off into this country knowing probably where you'd be going without having, somebody there ready to make contact with you if they had more work for you. So,
True. Plus, I don't know. I mean, depending on how we would want to translate the Morag Tong into this campaign setting, the Morag Tong in Morrowind, at least, is like it's legally contracted assassination.
right.
In the spirit of avoiding greater conflict, where that's kind of like humanitarian assassination. These two groups are going to fight each other, so rather than a bunch of people die, someone could just pay for this person to be killed, and the problem would be resolved with much less bloodshed.
right.
But So for that reason, and because of the fact that it was like through Daedra worship, it was sanctioned by the government in Vardenfell, but not necessarily anywhere outside of that. So
Right.
like Morag Tong agents within Morrowind could present their writ if they were like arrested for killing someone as a way to get out of it, but that's up to you to decide, I guess. Then it's like, am I outside of the jurisdiction of the Morag Tong? In which case there wouldn't be any, there's not going to be a chapter here or work for me or anything. It would just mostly be a flavor thing for me to send back a letter that says like, I completed my writ.
I think the most reasonable thing would be to say, hey, you can probably gather some information around town. Let's say it's not just an open, it's not a closed syndicated group that if you hear the words they have to kill you. And it's probably not such a popular thing that they have like, a P.O. box in most cities. It would be something that you might have to ask around about, but would eventually be able to find somebody who would know what you're talking about. Does that seem reasonable?
I kind of imagine like on the X-Files where Mulder would like have to put up an X on his window, like there's a dead drop or there's like a sign that you put up and then like some innocuous graffiti otherwise that somebody would see and be like, oh, there's a Morag Tong guy here. I'm going to meet him here later.
I have knowledge local and knowledge nobility, so I don't know which of the two you would want it to be.
So I think
like
the spirit of knowledge local is like, hey, you grew up around here and you know what this place is like. But for the purposes of this campaign, I'm just using it to kind of like a secondhand gathered information check, like things you should know based on just being around here enough. So
street smarts.
Street smarts. And diplomacy would work for that gather information too, but probably more in like an immediate setting or about new information. So I would say make you choose a knowledge diplomacy a knowledge local or a diplomacy check to gather information about where they might be.
Knowledge local, because that's my higher check.
Okay. That's a reasonable thing to do.
14. I rolled very low.
Okay. I want to also remind and encourage people to take 10 as they so choose.
Oh, yeah, sure. Can I take 10?
No.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. In any situation where you could like do
under pressure.
Yeah. As long as you're not under pressure to do it, and
you're still cutting out. I'm sorry, my internet.
Are you hearing me okay, Matt?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
okay?
I can hear you. I can hear you okay, Danny? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm gonna take a $5 and reset my modem because occasionally my internet will do this where my Discord just freaks out for a little bit. So I will be back in about 5 minutes.
Sounds good, dude.
Figure something out. I am off taking 10, gathering information about the Morag Tong while I'm gone. So I'll be right back.
All right. So John doesn't get to take 10. He has to take his roll of 14 because I'm
right, obviously. Rolling before he asked about the rolling thing.
That's his punishment. That's just what has to happen. So let's talk about what Eigen Mode is doing during this time. Ishan is in town, and this shit's happening. Okay.
Well, there's a bit of a time warp happening in that I had the opportunity to spend some wealth thanks to Mortimer's connections in between the last sessions. But
so imagine that a day or two has passed and he's connected you with some people who, like the traders probably got to move some of their stuff out.
Right.
And there's probably also new traders coming in and going out. So, being as connected as this guy is, being the owner of one of the most prosperous bars in the taverns in the city, he can probably get you what you need.
So what I'm going to say, what makes the most sense to me in character is that I've gone from half plate to masterwork full plate armor, and the reason that this has happened is not that he went out and bought a new set of armor at the armor dealership or got a refurb or something. Argenmode had, from his time in the pit, he journeyed north and his armor had gotten banged up along the way, and he had his famous costume, pit armor, the Butcherman armor that he had made for him when he was a gladiator.
Right.
So he was wearing like parts of that and most of it, but it wasn't in great shape. So he went and found a guy who really knew his stuff, had him pound the plates back together, put the suit back together so he could wear the whole thing. So he's got that back now. He's pretty happy about that.
All right. I'm going to say for the sake of story that you were introduced to a charismatic dwarf in the city who goes by Rig, who does very special odd job armors, for horses and stuff.
All right.
And upon seeing you, he was very pleased with the opportunity to just just make it work for you. So
That's awesome.
you spent a day with Rig, and he took 1,000,000 measurements. He tried 1,000,000 pieces of plate, and he basically spent the day at the forge sitting and waiting to have pieces tried on you. And after some trial and error, Rig was able to make that for you.
Great. Thanks, Rig. I'm also going to, while I'm there, Agenmode, he doesn't get self-conscious being a robot, but he's aware of the difference in mobility between himself and Ishan, and he's thinking, if he's going to be traveling with people, he's been going on his own at a robot's pace. It doesn't really matter how long it takes. He doesn't get hungry or tired really necessarily in the same way. So he's been fine going 20 feet on the road, but he's thinking now maybe for his own sake, and but also Ishan's sake and the sake of expedition, he might get a horse. So he's got to do this thing where he finds a
He
horse
goes horse
that
shopping.
He's got to go and strike a deal on a. He can't cut corners on this horse. Is just the bottom line for Agenmode.
You're right. Spent all day slaving over a hot computer, coming up with encounters, and you guys want to go horse shopping. I see how it is.
Yeah, I mean, I've already paid the gold for the horse. This is where we get into the time warp, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have an image of a horse in mind, but he's going to have to find something pretty big and pretty sturdy. Maybe not like the most sleek, like doing jumps, riding around, with fancy boots on type of horse, but it's a sturdy, a war horse.
Just a mean old horse.
And I'm back.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
I wasn't sure what I wanted to name the horse until I stopped writing what I was buying down halfway through and just wound up with Heave. So that's going to be the horse's name, is Heave.
Heave. If you... All right.
Like it.
So Mortimer directs you to basically the person who owned the most prominent stable. The person is known to have rented horses as well as keep the horses of travelers who are coming in. And on occasion, he is known to be able to sell the horses outright. So the innkeep or the stable keep, who you are directed to, basically says, well, there's one horse that pretty much meets your description. He's owned by one of the wealthier and more rotund travelers who frequent Soulworn, but you'd have to ask him about it because I'm not at liberty to sell the horse.
Oh, okay. Is it? Do you know? Agenmode doesn't really know about horses. How do horses feel about? Would they be more or less upset by a robotic man?
Well, if I'm thinking of this
more.
one in particular, you couldn't be any less offensive than the guy who was riding her before.
Oh, all right.
So,
well, point me towards the owner. I would like to strike a deal with him about
Okay.
this horse.
Okay, so probably at this point they're allowing people back into the city. Let's say you're going in at the same day as Ishan. Is that
All right?
Is that all right? All right. So, you two are separated, but you go to basically one of the trading areas nearby, and you are able to track him down fairly well with the description that you're given. The traveler's name is a name that is well known to the people. Oak Bumble.
Oak Bumble.
Yeah. Yeah, Google big guy generator, big guy name generator. Well, no, I didn't do that, but hold on. Let me see if it actually works. Big guy name generator. A tough guy name generator. Perfect. Okay, make a random name.
Big,
No.
McLarge, huge.
Bold, fast knob. No, we're going to go with Oak Bumble.
Okay.
Oak Bumble.
I've already written that on the thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
it's canon now. So Oak Bumble is pretty much just a big old bulb of a tall human man, and he is accompanied by 3 or 4 little wheedly yes men.
Okay.
And they are laughing about their riches in a basically a concourse of the not concourse in a small section of the trading area under a shaded tree. Not a care in the world, this Oak Bumble. Just a grisly face, a scarecrow's carcass. So, yeah, that's that.
Yeah, Eigen mode. He doesn't really worry because he's a robot, but he does appraise that the risk of himself being considered property by this type of person is considerably higher than like the average, people out here. But he's going to approach Oak Bumble anyway, and tell him quite plainly that he would like to pay him gold for his mean horse.
Okay, so Oak Bumble laughs a boisterous laugh. Oh, and why should I sell it to you?
I would give you gold for the horse.
Well, how much gold are we talking?
A horse like that has a market value of, well, I don't know. I assume approximately 300 gold.
He rubs his chin and he says, certainly a horse of that caliber must be worth 500 gold to you.
Isn't it a very mean horse?
Well, mean, yes, but you put enough weight on his back and he settles down. She, rather.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's split the difference then. I'll give you 400 gold for the horse.
He rubs his chin and he says, I believe my offer of 500 was very fair.
Wasn't the compromise tautologically more fair?
Ta.
It's self-evident that a compromise between what I am prepared to pay and what you are asking is the most fair option.
You're way over this guy's head.
Yeah, he can't help it.
So, the man...
Oh, I know.
the man scratches his head, Oak Bumble, and he says, I'm not sure what you're saying, but I think you're trying to barter with me.
Oh, I'll tell you what. 300 gold, and I don't know. Do you need anything beaten up or something? I do that for a living.
He looks very concerned. Go ahead and make an intimidate check.
I wasn't supposed to be an
You've
intimidate
incidentally intimidated him.
I don't know. Is there a way we could lower the price? I mean, I beat things up for a living.
25.
Yeah, he says 300 will be fine. You may take the horse.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you.
So he sends one of the Wheatley yes men to collect the money from you, and he breaks out a small piece of parchment and quickly jots down some information for you to take to the stable keep, and says, you're a very interesting sort, albeit very scary. You should come to me if you're looking for work.
Oh. Eigenmode is obviously confused by this because he was just offering to do work, but okay. Thank you.
All right, so you take the information to the stable keep. It's an easy transaction. Eve is a beautiful, enormous lady horse who is initially very hesitant to anybody, it appears, as the stable keep tries to handle her, but seems to have an odd calmness around you.
Okay. I'm gonna reach out and just put one robotic hand on the horse's, nose part.
Okay. The horse does a little wee snaw.
Yeah.
As horses do, but is for the most part very calm.
Well, good. Good horse. Good heave. Good horse heave.
So the stable keep says, I imagine now you'll be wanting to stable the horse. Is that correct?
Yeah. She should stay in a stable while she's here, probably.
Well, Bumble's debts are his own, but you'll probably need to pay me for the amount of food that Heave has been eating while she's been here.
Okay. How much does horse food cost?
That man also rubs his chin. And looks up the value in his book, and he says, it'll probably be about 1 silver piece a day.
All right.
This is DMing at its finest, I want you to know.
Yeah. That's a fine amount. I can pay that for the horse to stay here.
All right.
Does that include horse food?
Yeah, that's eating 1 silver piece of horse food a day is like ridiculous.
Okay, and I can buy horse food for her from you if we're going somewhere.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
You'll need a lot.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a big horse. He can carry food.
Eve whinnies a happy whinny when you talk.
Yeah, we're gonna feed you apples.
Apples are 2 gold pieces a day.
I can bring some apples for my horse.
Are we gonna go apple picking this session?
Ooh.
All right.
No.
We're gonna go back to Ishan now that you've purchased your horse.
Excellent.
All right. So, Ishan,
So
with
my take 10 on knowledge local would be a
nope,
20.
nope.
All right, you're right. I'm bumbling around town.
You run into Oak Bumble.
It would be hilarious if Oak Bumble were also the Morag tongue point man in this.
Excuse me, sir. Have you heard of the Morag tongue? Oak Bumble rubs his chin.
No. Unfortunately, that is not what happens. You poke around some taverns. You poke around some alleys just to talk to the people who talk about things that work things like the Morag Tong. And eventually, you're directed to what is what used to be the most popular place to find fellow members, and that was where the mayor was. And he said, I imagine they're not in the mayor anymore because that's basically rubble now. But maybe in the streets around town, sort of the low income temporary housing district, you might be able to find something like that.
Well, all right. I will go look there.
Okay, so you get to the scene of the mayor, and I think I described it before, but it's basically just rubble with smoke billowing up off the top. And you do see that mostly the coals have been turned, and it looks like they're just trying to let the fire die out. Some of the larger structures near the mayor have also been damaged, and they appear vacant. But you do make a perception check.
All right. 17.
You do see people who are kind of shifting about inside the buildings despite their haggard appearance. And it strikes you as odd.
Do they seem to be like outwardly hostile?
They're not shooting arrows at you from inside the house.
All right. I guess I'll approach the house.
Okay, so as you make your way towards the house, you do see some of the figures sort of shift away from the windows. It's by our standards today, probably not a very nice house, but it is sort of a 2-story structure. It looks like at one point it was sort of supplement buildings, maybe additional beds that the mayor would use, but now it looks like it's pretty vacant. Knocking on the door does not seem out of the question. However, if you wanted to approach more stealthily, there are probably windows that you could enter. The foot travel is fairly light because nobody wants to be around the half-burned structures.
Rather than go right up to the front door, I'm going to just kind of mosey around the side or back of it to see if there's not other windows, but if there's another door.
Okay, so you choose the side that's not next to the heat of the rubble. You go around the far side of the structure. You do see a couple windows which are basically, facing towards the next structure over. So it's kind of an alley-like setup. And the windows are up on the second floor of the structure.
There's no door in the back or anything.
You make your way entirely around the back, and no, there is not. Basically, just some high-level first-floor windows at the very back, and some second-floor windows on the sides.
I'll just loop back around to the front, and I will knock on the door.
Okay, so you knock a couple times. Make a perception check.
15.
Okay, you hear some quieted voices, and you can make out the words, things like shh and something like someone's at the front door. And then you hear the patter of footsteps up to the front. You see a figure in the window kind of dart its head back and forth a little bit to size up what's outside, and then go to crack the door. So as they're cracking the door, you can just see half of a half-elf's face poke out, say, what are you looking for?
I'm going to say this as part of, I suppose I'll just start off with a diplomacy check. But I'll say, well, I'm looking to turn in a writ. I had completed some work, and I was hoping that I could either do that here, or you would have information on where I could contact my organization. And diplomacy check. Terrible roll. 13.
Okay, so I have to look up the rules for diplomacy because I don't know them. I don't remember.
I think it's
Basically,
mostly...
you take like a starting attitude, and you look at like what the DC is to improve somebody's attitude from like indifferent to friendly or helpful.
Okay.
Right.
What did you
hostile.
get?
I got a 13, so I don't know if that really...
13 total.
Yeah, 13 total. I rolled a 6.
Okay.
Indifferent to friendly would be 15 plus the creature's charisma modifier. So unless he's got a real shit charisma modifier.
Since you're right on the border here, the creature seems hesitant, trying to assess you. Is there anything you want to do? I would say, is there... No, that wouldn't work either. I'll tell you what, he says, you got to cut it a little more simple for me, pal. I don't know what you want.
I'm looking for the Morag tongue.
So go ahead and make another diplomacy check.
All right. 12.
Okay. All right.
Right back to where I was in 3.5 with my fucking rolling.
Yep. Well, I'm glad you're there. But the creature's attitude seems to go from one of indifference to one of slightly more slight warmth, and says, you're looking for a drop. There's an old rotted tree on the southwest side of town. You'll be able to find it, no problem. It's right next to the posts.
Southwest side of town, an old dead tree.
Outside, on the posts.
Thank you.
So the door kind of creaks again to a shut, and you're standing outside the structure.
I'll go ahead and head on down to where he described.
Make one more perception check.
All right. 14.
Okay. Still standing at the door, maybe about 5-10 seconds after the door shuts, you hear in a whisper, I think that dude was an assassin. All right. So that's all you
smile
hear.
as I walk away.
Okay. So, are you going to go look for this alleged tree?
Yeah, I'll head out that way, and I guess when I do find the tree and its descriptor, or something matching that rough description, because that's really vague, I guess I would be wanting to approach it stealthily. Like, I'm not just stealthing through town, but like as soon as I see it, I would be approaching it through stealth checks.
Okay. So you navigate your way through town. It's not that difficult. I mean, there are basically 4 major openings in the town, one in each cardinal direction. So you just pick your direction, basically. But as you're moving through town, you catch something that's pretty much impossible to miss. You see what appears to be 3 members of... Make a knowledge and ability check.
Right. Jesus, 14.
Okay, that's enough. You see what appear to be 3 members of the Lord's Guard. They appear to be in their... they're wearing armor. They have their weapons, but again, not at the ready. And they're moving down the main passage towards the west. It looks like they are sort of set to travel. They have a pack animal with them, but they're traveling on foot. So that's just something you see. They don't appear to be searching for anything. They just appear to be traveling.
You said they're heading west?
Yes.
And there's 3 of them?
Mm-hmm.
I'll continue towards the southwest, but I'll, I guess, make a mental note of that.
Okay. So...
did Eigenmode and I really, confer we were going to meet back up?
I guess not.
No, I was going around doing some shopping. That was all I was doing, though.
Okay, well, we'll play not having a rendezvous point, so...
I mean, I'm not going to be hard to find.
That's true. Unless
Have you seen a robot?
Unless you keep rolling. I'm going to strongly encourage you just to take 10, just in some cases, just go for it.
Sure.
It never hurts to ask me. I'm not going to get mad about it.
Sure.
So you sort of acknowledge their presence, but you just keep moving, and you're basically able to outpace them. And once you make it to the wall posts, you basically follow from the exit west down south until you get closer to the border, where you see the posts curve off to form the southern border of Soulworn. Make a perception check.
I'm going to take 10.
Okay.
Which would be a 17.
Oh, hey. You are pretty easily able to pick a large rotted tree out. It looks like it's just at the base of a hill, a small foothill. Very small, but pretty easy to pick out from other growth in the area. Looks like it's been there for a while.
Well, with any with any cover that's leading up to it, I guess I'll approach stealthily.
Okie dokie.
I don't think could I take a 10 on that stealth check?
Yeah, I mean, if you're taking your time and you're in cover, it shouldn't really be an issue. You might have to
My
move
stealth check's
slow.
high enough. I'll just make a stealth check. I'm pretty confident it's not going to be terrible.
Burn some key points and run up to it and run away.
Right. Okay. Wow. There, I'm burning my good rolls. 32. So.
Okay. So all right. So I'm just gonna use that one roll. Basically, you move quickly towards the hollowed, rotted tree. You search around for anything that might give you a sign that people have been there. You don't make a perception check, actually.
I'll take 10. 17.
All right. You don't find anything that would show you, obviously, hey, there's something here waiting for me, or there's some foreign object in here. There's basically just one large crevice inside of the tree, and that pretty much seems to be the only place to put things out of eyeshot.
I will produce the writ or whatever actual copy of it that I had in my possession, and I guess I think the only real writing implement I have, I guess, is chalk. Well, anyway, I'll carve a seal onto the back of the writ, I guess, for flavor.
just like carve out with a knife, just carve it into the writ itself. Like, sorry, I didn't have.
I cut up this piece of paper instead of doing this job.
Yeah, he's fine. He's buying a horse now.
No, I'll take some chalk or some charcoal from a torch and just kind of smear. I guess I'd probably put the symbol from my forehead as kind of like my defining mark, since to me it's unique and no one else in the Morag Tong had used that. That would probably be what my character would have as his personal seal for his writs.
Gotcha. And don't forget, the only identifying information on the original writ that you received was that very same symbol, which was not inscribed by you, on the paper itself.
I'll just inscribe it on the back or another part, and then I'll fold or roll it up neatly and kind of just tuck it into the crevice of the tree.
Okay.
And then I will stealth back towards town.
Okay. I'll just take the one stealth check for that.
Sure.
So it's approaching evening. You both, retroactively, Eigenmode got some armor custom made by a dwarf. And then today he bought the horse. He looked for the horse and bought the horse. Today you sought out, everybody's sort of going back into the city walls. And you dropped that writ off in the place where they told you to drop writs off. So you have your choices of where to stay. Mortimer has basically reestablished the Heart of the Soulworn as open for business. He's encouraged you to be there, but he said the choice is yours, obviously.
No, I definitely want to reconnect with Mortimer and see. First, I would want to find Hugo if I can.
Okay. So it's...
Are we together now at this point, by the way?
Yeah, let's just say you guys...
I probably would have gone back to Mortimer and just hung around.
Yeah.
Figuring that Eigenmode would have returned similarly.
That seems totally appropriate.
I guess before we do anything, whenever I first met back up with Eigenmode, I would tell him, "Hey, I saw 3 members of the Lord's Guard with what looked like some kind of a search dog heading out west in the direction of where you told them. So that offer's probably still on the table if we wanted to pursue that. I would say we're a couple hours behind him, but I know that I'm on the fence about it, and you seem to be pretty decided that you don't want to pursue them. So just throwing that back out there.
Well, Sean, what do you think? I'll defer to you this time. You're off the clock now. So what would you like to do?
Well, that's
and I
actually
want to jump
good.
in here and say, just pursue whatever Ishan would pursue. At this point, with 2 characters, I can do 2 like consecutive streams of thought.
Yeah.
You guys can pursue something together. You can pursue your own designs. You guys can just choose what you want to do. I'm encouraging you to really play the character out.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
Sean, my only concern about tailing them out there is that if we are detected tailing them, instead of making us, it makes us seem significantly more suspicious, and your mark is much more obvious than mine.
Well, I can cover myself. I don't think I find myself in a situation where they would know that I'm marked. They might know that they're being followed by a human-sized person, but I assure you that with my set of skills, I seriously doubt that they would get much more information out of it than that, just knowing that they were followed.
Even with the dog?
That was one other thing I wanted to clarify. There was no dog. It was like a pack animal.
Okay.
Like a mule or something. Not like a horse for riding, but something to just help them carry their gear.
They had a really weird dog.
No, that's good. I like
a really big dog.
Kept braying as it went down the street.
It had a dog with hooves.
I both saw it. Well, okay, so in character, well, it's a good point that you say off the clock between writs. I mean, on one hand, I do want to seek out real work. It's been a while since I've had a true mark to hunt, but I'm terribly interested in this symbol ordeal.
Right.
I'd love to research more, and I know our plan was to seek out a little bit more written knowledge, whether it be in the form of a great library or continuing to ask around town, and potentially even finding those other people that Mortimer had referred to that also seem to bear the mark.
Okay.
I do feel that this is an opportunity, though, and I absolutely love spying and following people as such. So I know that that's greatly hindered by your presence.
Yeah, I would not. I mean, I will go with you if you want me to, but I don't think that I will be very helpful in that regard.
I don't know if I want you to go with me.
All right.
Might be a lot less successful that way.
Right.
But see real quick. How many days out do I recall that area by the river with the cliff and the wood symbols to be?
Maybe about 5 or 6.
5 or 6 days?
Yeah.
Oh. I'll let it pass.
And we know for a fact that they are chasing nothing out there, so...
It's true. If it had been closer, I might be interested, but I don't know if it's worth devoting that much time out in the field tracking them. For me to watch them find presumably symbols and nothing, and for them to, even if they look hostile, to then just return empty-handed. I suppose if we're still in town, give it about a week or 2. I'll just try to keep an eye out for when they return.
Yeah, I think that we can probably do, there's probably a lot of work that needs to be done here. And I think that if you want to learn more about the symbol, I think that's a good impulse, and we should talk to Hugo about that, because Hugo knows more about it than either of us.
Oh, yes, Hugo. I completely forgot he existed. He's so weak.
He's well, I think he's probably getting better now, but...
Just lay into him.
Is he there?
That weenie. No, the last you remembered, you had sort of separated Hugo's stuff in his camp out at a campsite away from yours because you didn't want the Lord's Guard to encounter him while they were questioning Eigenmode.
Right. Oh, I thought that we were leaving him near with like Mortimer and in the like the refugee camp out there.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So if Hugo's not immediately obvious, I would ask Mortimer about it.
So Mortimer scratches his chin. No, he doesn't. He says, "Yeah, the guy with the trunk. He well, he was in the refugee camp, and we started to make our way back to the city, and we were breaking the tents down. I didn't happen to see him as we were traveling back. I don't know what to say."
Oh. That's awfully rude if he just left, isn't it? That is rude, right?
Very rude.
Okay, yeah. I thought
I
so.
bear his quote family symbol on my forehead, and he is not intrigued enough by that to stick around.
Did I give him the potions back that he gave me for the little con job we ran?
Nope.
Okay. Huh.
those are the cure light wounds potions we got.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. I guess those are mine now.
Well, me too.
Should we look for Hugo? He has been kidnapped by stuff before.
You know, he does know what we look like.
He could find us unless he got kidnapped by something.
Well, I would be more concerned with him running into the Lord's Guard and then alerting them that a wooden and metal man and a sylph are running around also bearing the same symbol. I'm starting to realize that that's actually a fair liability. You are the most conspicuous creature I've ever met.
Okay.
And I seriously expect that if the Lord's Guard were looking for Forgeborn, was it? That's what you call yourself? Then they'd be able to find us pretty quickly.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not worried about having to fight them so much, but I am.
I am, and I don't mean to say that in a way that I'm not courageous enough. I'm confident in my abilities. I do love killing, but just and in the efforts of subtlety, it would probably behoove us to tie up loose ends and find Hugo and maybe keep him on our person.
I think so too. I think we should find Hugo.
Okay. So Mortimer recalls where he was when he was sort of set up with Hugo, and directs you to the north and west side of the wall.
Okay. Yeah, we could start asking around if anybody else has seen Hugo. They might not have, seen him wandering off or being taken or something.
It is what, evening? Has the sun set yet?
It's getting very close to evening, yes.
Well, here's the other part of the plan. It may behoove us to actually seek him out at night, for he may not be traveling himself. But I don't know how well you fare in the dark, my friend.
We've done this before, haven't we? I do need a light source. I don't see as any better than anybody else in the dark.
The real Abbott and Costello routine you guys got going on.
Yeah.
I think we should go look for him now.
Okay. Let's look for him now.
All right.
Okay. So you step out into the streets of Solwarn. It shouldn't take you very long, maybe 30 minutes to get to the last location that Mortimer had mentioned. It might be a little hard to find, but you can go out there and start looking. Is that what you guys want to do?
Yeah, I'll light a torch.
Okay. So you go out towards that direction, out the north exit, and you start mucking about in basically the outer wall and working away from there until you find what looks like the obvious human tread and maybe a little bit of pressed grass and just torn up grass features that kind of indicate that a camp was there.
Yeah. Okay. So what?
Based on being there recently, you're relatively sure you're in the right place.
Yeah. Is there anything at all left out here? I guess I'll do a perception check to search the area.
Okay. Now,
To try to find. Yeah.
it's
Go
probably
ahead.
low light. Do you have a light source out or something?
Yeah. I lit a torch.
Okay.
I have dark vision, so I'm going to refrain from lighting one of my torches, and I'll just kind of stick close to Eigen mode, but
Okay.
not be so illuminating myself.
Okay.
So I'll make a perception check.
Right.
Ooh, that's right. I don't have very much perception on this guy, do I? No. It's gonna be 8.
Okay.
9 because I leveled up.
Congratulations. It's pretty difficult to really make heads or tails of the mass amount of tracks in the ground.
Right.
I'm gonna take 10 on my perception check, and I do have dark vision 60 feet. Keep in mind, which would be a 17.
Okay. Yes, you do find something. It appears, as you sort of survey the area, that on a small patch of, just natural stone, maybe it was a large rock that's just sort of buried around with dirt, you do find the symbol etched hastily once again with another dial marking, which looks like it heads pretty much north by northwest.
Well, that is away from town.
Oh, Hugo, what compels him to do this, do you think? Last time it was a giant.
The statue.
He did mention the statue. The statue.
like where Jerry Seinfeld and George Costanza.
That's
the
exactly
statue, Jerry.
That's exactly what this is right now.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about his obsession with that nightmarish story of his. Who knows how true it is, or if he's just a delusional man that drinks too many potions. But I would suspect he did say that it took a couple days for it to catch up with him, usually. And,
right, he wanted to keep moving because of that.
If this is his same behavior that he had in the woods fleeing from that thing, then maybe this is a suggestion that he is leaving and seeking aid.
Yeah.
I think we should follow this heading.
We should follow Hugo. Hugo's not very well on his own.
So are you, basically, you're going to be setting out at night now if you choose to travel.
Right.
I would like to get some rest Eigen mode. However, I do think it would be worth beginning our journey slightly.
Yes.
So maybe we could head out north by northwest or whatever this bearing says by a couple hours and then set up camp. I'll catch some quick sleep and then we can continue on in the morning.
Okay. You want to I would like to go get my new horse so that we can move more quickly.
Right. Yes, the Heave, did you say his name was?
Eve. Her name.
Heave. Her. Yes. Well,
yeah.
If you want it to be a boy horse, it can be a boy horse too.
No, I like for it to be a mare.
Well, with Heave in tow, maybe we should just wait the night here in Solwarn and head out in the morning.
I think that's fine. We have a heading.
I'm confident that she would do well that way.
Hugo seems determined to leave us these markings, so let's
That's true.
Let's take our ease, perhaps at the mare, and then I will get my new horse, and we will ride out in the morning. Does that seem reasonable?
That seems reasonable.
Okie dokie. So making back to town is really no problem. You make it back to... Are you checking in at the stable before you rest?
If we're leaving in the morning, then I'm just going to get the horse in the morning.
Okay. Then you could head to the heart of the Solwarn, and if you wanted to, you knew you had beds there. That would be a perfectly fine place to rest.
I also wanted to take a second with Mortimer and ask him, if there's anything long-term that he could use help with in terms of rebuilding.
So Mortimer thinks on that one while he cleans things around his tavern, and he says, unfortunately, I think the building that was burned will simply take time to rebuild. I do appreciate your offer for help, but as our city has done in the past, our town has done in the past, we rebuild with the kindness of strangers and the gold that they bring with them. So, while I do appreciate your offer to assist us, I would say use us as a resource, and if we should have need of you, we'll make it known.
Do you need money? We can work out a loan. We can work out,
Mortimer tilts his hand to the side and he says, this business makes more than I would ever need to live on. I just like the stories that people bring into town. That's why I do what I do.
All right.
As for the mayor, I knew the proprietor. If he ever returns back to the city, he knows I'm here to provide help.
All right.
So you're welcome to stay the night. You're welcome to pay for your room. You're also welcome to not pay for your room.
No, I'll pay him for the room. That's what he's counting on. So yeah, I'll pay for the rooms.
So it's just I forget what it was, 1 gold each a night.
Okay.
Easy peasy. Probably way too much, but it's a nice place.
Covers food. We're being generous because his shit just got burned down. Yeah,
well,
obviously.
His shit didn't get burned down.
The mayor was the one that burned, right?
Right. Heart of the Soulworn is fine. Right. So, so you guys are able to rest. Anything special you're doing that night before? Like you said, you were kind of gathering some information from Mortimer.
Yeah, I think that's about all that I wanted to ask about.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
I guess I'd take this time to make sure that I have 2 or 3 shurikens properly coated with blue Winnis poison, but that's about it.
That's true. I have some
Ninja
new moves.
rituals.
I'll find a little clear space outside and do a little warm up there with my new maneuver. Bronze knuckle.
All right. So you both rest. The accommodations are nice. You're both awakened in the middle of the night by a commotion. You hear in the streets some screaming, some shouting about something that's been happening south of the city. It's tough to make out as you're both, snap to alertness. But the more that you catch from people who are passing up and down the hallway, there's somebody has attacked some of the people who haven't made it inside the city walls yet. People who are still in the tents.
Oh, I'm going immediately to the tents. I'm gonna wake up Ishan and then immediately head for the tents.
All right, I will wake
on
up.
On horseback? How far is it to the tents? Like, should I get on a horse to do this?
If it was 30 minutes to get north and west to that corner where the tents were outside the city walls, it'd probably be, 20, 30 minutes to get at least to the south border of the city to, get to close to the refugee camps, which were, right outside the gates.
So it'd be what, like half that on horseback?
It's probably gonna take time to get your horse and then get like stuff on it. Also, do you as Eigen mode, do you sleep in full plate?
I don't sleep.
Oh right. Okay, so then that answers that question. And Ishan, I'm sure it takes you no time at all to don.
It takes 1 minute. It takes 1 minute to don a chain shirt. I just looked it up, so I don the chain shirt.
Perfect.
I don't think I need to don that hastily.
You guys are getting there. Yeah. What does that even mean? It's just like halfway around your shoulder.
Well, apparently
it's put on shittily. You take penalties for it.
Yeah, you take penalties.
But it's a chain shirt, though. I mean, like
I think you can. I'm pretty sure you can sleep in a chain shirt.
Actually, you're right. Never mind then. I sleep in it.
Sounds good.
Light armor in general. I think you don't get fatigued from sleeping in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Naturally.
Okay, so you guys are making a break for the south edge of town.
Yeah.
Okay. As you are sort of coming to consciousness, and there's a big commotion in the heart of the Soulworn. People are awake. People are leaving their rooms to see what the matter is. You see, people are sort of rushing with whatever they have in their hands to go to the south. You also see a large detachment of the Lord's Guard running to the south with their weapons.
Yeah, I'm gonna manifest my fiend's grips as I'm on the move here.
Okay, so you're kind of behind the pack, but you're all moving at about the same rate. As you begin to approach the south gate, you see in the distance what looks like it's either torchlight or campfires, and you hear what sounds like the loud commotion of people fighting with something.
Okay.
It sounds like thunderous, almost like explosions, as well as the cries of people and commands being issued back and forth. What languages do each of you speak? As Matt flips his page over to read the 90
That was
languages he
me.
has on.
Sorry.
Okay.
Right in front of the microphone, too.
Eigen mode only has about half the languages that Lerman does. It's Common, Forge-born, Draconic, Gnomish, Dwarven, and Demonic.
Okay.
I have Common, Orin, Dwarven, Elven, and Halfling.
Okay. So the commands that you're hearing are in a language that you do not understand. So we'll leave it at that. They do sound very... they do have a lot of authority behind them, but otherwise you can't really understand them. So as you continue to approach, you see reflected in the low light of the torches that have apparently just been chucked at the feet of a figure. It's a 12-foot stone armor-clad figure, basically bare-handed, who is scooping up, throwing, and assaulting what now appears to be people who are just brandishing weapons at it. You see a number of corpses at its feet. It's difficult to say what exactly is happening, but it appears now that most anybody who isn't as well equipped as you has backed away, and the 90% of the people at its feet now appear to be the Lord's Guard, basically just fending it off.
I'm going to turn to...
Describe this figure again. A 12-foot stone armor-clad
humanoid figure.
Okay.
Difficult to discern anything. And again, this is as you're approaching. It's tough to see.
Right.
But you see sort of the flicker of the shadows, and it makes large sweeping movements. You can hear it sort of stomping and slapping against the ground. It really looks like it's just picking up other figures and sort of chucking them. It's like paper dolls, rag dolls, across the field of battle. You're in the thick of the tents, but you know it's obviously stomped out sort of a clearing now. So
right.
It appears that it has met with opposition at the hands of the town guard and the Lord's Guard, and it's now sort of doing battle with them. You do see a number of, per your interactions with them before, you do see a number of those moderately armored figures sort of on the ground in front of it.
Yeah.
So you would presume that people have already fallen underneath it.
Is it surrounded or just from the front?
Basically, it is surrounded. It appears a couple of the Lord's Guard in the back have been firing bow and arrow at it.
Yeah.
Just in your assessment of the situation, the arrows just appear to be bouncing off of it. And the Lord's Guard that are still surviving, some of them have spears, some of them have things like maces or morning stars, and several of them have sword and shield. So they're just kind of around this thing's feet trying to fend it off. As you get closer,
I'm approaching as fast as I can.
I'm gonna whisper shout up to Eigen mode as we're running towards it. Perhaps we should let the Lord's Guard handle as much as they can.
I think that they have.
Perhaps we should let them handle it a little bit more.
This thing, okay, so just looking at this thing in the stone armor, it would be reasonable to describe this as looking like a statue, right?
Essentially, yeah. You don't see any flesh. You don't see anything organic. Again, it's just flickering in torchlight, and it's moving.
Yeah.
You know, it's very what's the right word? it's lumbering about basically, but it's also making large sweeping attacks on the things at its feet.
Yeah,
Could this be Hugo's statue?
that's my thinking.
So, as you are approaching, you're close now. I'll say within 100 feet. Would you get that close to this thing?
I'm getting as close as I can, as fast as I can.
Okay.
All right. I guess
I
I'm
am-
just running
I
behind.
am down to kill this thing. I am like
Now
Agamotto doesn't
that
get excited being a robot, but this is like, okay, like this is a fight. Like fighting people is like a fight, but this is a fight.
So,
I'll kind of stop or slow down on my heels as Eigen mode passes the 100-foot-ish threshold of what I would assume to be the creature's visibility. What are my cover options looking like here?
there are definitely some tents which are still standing, maybe 20 feet away. The thing is not making a lot of distance from its current position. It just looks like it's spending a lot of time smashing members of the Lord's Guard at its feet.
Like, what's the closest form of cover to it?
Probably one of the tents that has not been smashed yet. Probably, let's say it's 80 feet away from you, a little off to the right towards the creature.
All right, I'm gonna approach stealthily towards that tent, which would be half my speed, but I'd be making full rounds doing that. So
Okay. And then as you are running, I need both of you to make a perception check.
Okay. 15.
13.
Okay. They are. Both of you see this fairly well. It looks like the Lord's Guard is doing their best to fend this thing off, but they are not putting in a lot of work on it.
Yeah.
You see one of the moderately armored figures in the back who looks like he was barking commands. As you get closer, you can see the source of it. And then you see he's sort of surveying the road as well. You can see another member looks like they're trying to drag any living person they can away from the conflict. But that figure who was making barking orders, and you got a 15 Eigen mode?
Yeah.
All right, that should be easily perceived enough. Notices you, looks back at the creature, looks back at you, and then makes a shout to the Lord's Guard at the feet of the creature, and then you can see him motion back towards you and shout something else. And you can see two members of the Lord's Guard sort of peel away from the creature and are running in your direction now. Now, I assume Ishan,
Okay.
we're going to roll initiative.
Hold on.
at this
Before
point.
we go any further, I do want to clarify. I do have. It doesn't sound like I understood exactly what he's getting at right off the bat. I do have several. I do have maxed out ranks in Profession Soldier. Would that help me to understand what he's getting at in terms of like getting people away from it to come talk to us?
Absolutely. Go ahead and make a roll.
19.
Okay. Based on it's hard to say for sure, but based on the timbre of what he's saying, it sounds like he's barking formation orders.
Okay. Can I tell what formation orders?
Yeah, it's a spear point. So basically, it's like a sort of defending a center objective type thing.
Okay.
So
Great.
Let's roll initiative.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh. Ooh, no.
8.
5. I rolled a natural 1.
The best ninja. 8. Okay. So I'm going to assume Ishana is basically breaking away from Eigen mode towards the nearest cover you can find to get close to this thing, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Um. So I would assume you've already been breaking away. You're basically no longer with Eigen mode for the sake of like cover and stealth and stuff. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Perfect. Um.
Do you want me to make a stealth check or wait?
Yeah, I think now would be a good.
Should I make like an entry stealth check to the combat, or wait until it's actually like my turn in the initiative? Or
no, I think you should make an entry stealth check because you already talked about doing it beforehand. So assume that you're moving at full speed. If you want to use an ability to negate some of the penalties you're going to be taking for moving a certain speed, you are allowed to do that. It's up to you.
No, I would just be moving at the typical speed for stealth, which would be half my normal movement speed, as long as it's not rough terrain or anything, which I don't think it would count as that. I don't think so. But I am just going to be taking a full round to move towards the stone target.
So 2 move actions, you're going to be moving half speed,
which would be 35 feet total, because my full speed is 35 feet.
Okay.
So 2 half moves would be just my full move.
Yep, I believe that's correct. So yeah, you wouldn't take the penalty. You can go ahead and give me a stealth check now.
25.
Okay. Hold on, I have to make some checks here. Pull up my sweet Wizard's dice roller. Okay. So Ishan is sort of breaking off to the right of the main path towards this thing. The Lord's Guard is basically rushing up. 2 of the figures that are approaching you have a sword and shield, and the other one appears to have a spear in front, Eigen mode. But they're rushing to meet you. They're probably about 40 feet out from it. You're probably about 80 feet out from it. That commandery dude who's off to the left is sort of equidistant. He's probably about 40 feet from you and 40 feet from the giant stone creature.
Okay. If he's ordering a formation, I'm going to try to figure out where he's asking me to be in the formation.
Okay.
And fall in line there.
Okay. Yeah, I think with that 19, you can surmise that you are at the center of that, and it's like a spearhead formation to move inwards.
Good. Okay. I'm ready to go.
Okay. All right. The giant goes. So there are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 of the Lord's Guard. No, 5 of the Lord's Guard at its feet. A couple with spears. You can see a couple have fallen, and there are a couple with maces. So they take their swings. All right. So one misses with a spear. The other one drives the spear in, but you see it's pretty easily deflected just by whatever this creature is wearing.
Yeah.
And you also see one of the maces sort of crush into the thigh of the creature. You can't really see the effect. And then another mace is kind of deflected by the kneecap. In retaliation, you can see the giant just smash his fists down on top of one of the members of the Lord's Guard.
Yeah.
And instantly flatten him. Basically just goes from fighting to down on the ground. So it is Eigen mode's turn. The formation is about 40 feet out from the monster and 40 feet from you, so you're about 80 feet away from it.
I'll spend the whole turn running if I have to. It's 4 times speed to get into formation if I need to. That'll give me 80 feet. That'll close the distance, right?
Okay. So as you're running, the members of the Lord's Guard who were basically approaching your position are moving down in initiative order to move after you. They basically read it in action. So as you're running, you basically make it to the edge of this creature. As you get much closer, you see that it is what is essentially a giant sculpture. You hear the grinding of stone as it moves around, and you can see that when it moves, literal flakes of stone are sort of coming out of these animate joints that it has, but there's no trace of anything organic on it whatsoever. What knowledge skills do you have again?
I have history and nobility. So I probably can't figure out what type of thing it is. Can I use spellcraft? Can I use spellcraft to see if it's like an animated statue or like a thing that just lives like this?
You can make a spellcraft check. You can make Spellcraft checks as a non-casting class, right?
I have it as a class skill. Yeah, you can
okay.
do that.
Yeah, like even Gaston has it. But I think when it's not coupled with something like detect magic, it's really for like distinct, like reading a scroll or like
Right.
interpreting someone casting a spell in front of you.
Yeah. I got a 19 on the spellcraft check.
This is definitely something under the influence of magic.
Okay.
I think that's about all you get from this.
That's fine.
I'm not saying, without being paired with detect magic, you don't get a school or anything, but this is obviously something that's under the effects of magic.
Okay.
And you don't have knowledge. You could do knowledge nobility.
Okay. 26.
Okay. So while your history of the feature escapes you, you can tell that this is a sort of a saint-like figure. The statue is a saint-like figure named Mercius, who was known as a healer for the region, and belonged to not a noble family, but in terms of families and trades and power, this was a powerful lineage. So Mercius, obviously a statue, probably not the figure that it is based on,
right.
but also 12 feet tall.
Right.
Okay. It is Ishan's turn. So Ishan, you're kind of off the path, but you are I'll just say you're the same distance away, but you're off the path and you're hidden now. So you are moving closer to the creature. You're about 80 feet away.
Okay.
So you're going to do the double move with the stealth check?
Yeah, hold on. What's the exact penalty for me moving normal speed here?
Minus
Is it minus
5?
4 or minus 2? I don't know.
Minus 5?
Let me check.
You take a minus 5. When moving at a speed greater than half but less than your normal speed, you take a minus 5 penalty. But less than your normal speed? What happens if you...
Yeah, that's weird. Right.
Let's just say you can only move up to your normal speed during a round. So you can do 2 half moves, and I will just say it's a minus 5 penalty. Because I don't know the rules right now. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. So we'll do minus 5. I'm gonna move my 2 full movements, which would be 70 feet total.
Okay.
Towards it through the tents.
Okay.
I'm trying to remain in cover, and here's my stealth check. Ooh, nice. 29.
Okay. You're basically able to dart between the tents, and even as people are fleeing from this thing, just common villagers, you feel that you are basically able to avoid detection. So that's good news.
Yep.
Okay. So now to describe the action.
And while I was moving, I'll draw my short bow.
Okay. To describe the action of what's going on, you are approaching this creature that's swinging wildly on the members of the Lord's Guard. Ishan has broken away and is basically ducking between the tents, trying to remain concealed. We have Eigenmode, who is running forward at full steam. There's some members of the Lord's Guard who appear to be commanded to form up around him, and then they make their way towards the creature. So you're basically outside of creature's observable reach at this point. You're about 15 feet away. There's a member of the Lord's Guard in front of you, Eigenmode, who's about 10 feet away, so that's 2 squares away. And then you have the 2 with the sword and shield on either side of you, who are sort of just, in that spearhead formation. The others who are fighting, 1 has been downed. You see 2 more who are probably on the ground before you even got there. And you see 3 others who are still fighting it off to the sides in a flanking position.
All
right. So it is the Weenie Hut Junior's Lord's Guard's turn. And they swing on the creature. Okay. All very effective. The creature with the member of the Lord's Guard with the spear jabs at the creature's shoulder joint. Again, it's deflected with ease. The two Lord's Guard members with the maces swing towards the legs, and you can see the crushing impact of the mace shattering the stone and indenting the stone in a way that the spear obviously did not.
Right.
And as you get closer, you see the giant swing down on multiple members. So it basically crushes one. It grabs a hold of one of the Lord's Guard members' arms, who smacked it with the mace, or the two-handed Morning Star, and essentially flings it off into the distance against a tree with a sickening thud. All right, it is your turn.
Yeah, so I've got a little. How far away am I from the giant?
You have
statue?
3 squares. Oh no, I'm sorry. You have 2 squares.
Okay, so we're just outside of each other's reach at this point.
Basically, yeah.
And I have some Lord's Guard with me.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start up my gambit then. I'm going to adopt the pugilist stance first as a swift action. And then I'm going to move in. Let's see. I can go in. No, skip the stance. That'll take up another action that I need. I'm going to move in 5 feet. Use swift action to activate a boost called Bronze Knuckle. And then attack it with Flurry Strike. That's 2 maneuvers. One is a boost, that's a swift action. The other is a standard action strike. So I'll roll 2 attacks. Both of them will do an extra 2d6 damage and ignore DR, but only for this turn is what that's giving me. All right?
Okay.
All right. First attack. Here we go. Nope. Let's see. The attack is for 19 to hit.
19, that is a connection.
Okay, I'm going to roll the other one. Ooh, the other one is like 28.
Yeah, definitely a connection. No, that one misses.
Okay. So that's 11 damage and 16 damage.
Wow. All right. In a way that they clearly have not been able to do, the fists shudder the creature. You can see the strikes reverberate all the way up the stone creature's force structure, and you see these micro fissures starting to form on its structure, load-bearing joints and articulations.
Okay, I'm going to, as a free action, once I've hit it, mark it with Armiger's Mark. It'll take a -4 penalty to attack anything that's not me.
All right.
You get that?
Yep.
All right.
I got it all.
Okay.
It's all up here.
Not that I don't think I think he might have focused on me anyway, but I am marking him and cursing him and, yeah, getting right up in his grill.
Oh, for sure. All right. It is the other members of the Lord's Guard. So the 2 with the swords and the shields are basically getting into a threatened position. They are still adjacent to you, and they are adjacent to the creature.
Okay.
But it looks like they are trying to cover and support. So they basically have their shields raised, still granting you space to do what you need to do.
Cool.
Ishan, it is your turn.
How far away am I from it now?
You're about 40 feet. You're about 45 feet away from it right now. The tent that I spoke of, the closest seeming cover, is about it's less than 30 feet away.
Okay. I'm going to knock an arrow and try to snipe at it. I know I'd be firing into melee, so I'd take a -4 penalty to my attack. And then immediately afterwards, I'll try to take... I'm going to continue to move towards that tent, but part of that move action will be a stealth attempt to maintain my obscured location, which I would take at a -20.
Okay.
And then, it would be a singular move action at half my speed.
Okay.
So attack roll of my short bow. There wouldn't be any other modifiers besides just the -4, right, for firing into melee
No, I don't think so.
currently.
Oh,
Okay.
it's illuminated. What's the range on a short bow? It's less.
60 feet.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, there's no other penalty.
Okay. Big money. 18.
That is a connection.
Sweet. It's just 1d6 piercing damage
Yes.
with no modifiers because I'm a weak little boy with no muscles on my arms. 1. Well, actually, I guess I should ask, although I'm pretty sure I know the answer. Do I apply sneak attack damage?
You could roll it if you wanted to.
All right, I'll roll it if I want to. So 1 normal damage and 10 sneak attack damage.
So the arrow, in Shadow of the Colossus, when you just shoot an arrow to get something's attention,
Yeah.
it's pretty much what it looks like. It flies true, and it flies right into the center of the thing's chest, and it really kind of flips off like a toothpick.
Nice.
Make a perception check.
All right. Ooh, natural 19. 26.
Great. So you see the one Lord's Guard member who appeared to have been pulling bodies from the fray is now running up with what looks like a couple jars of something, and you see him toss them into the fray. And at the creature's feet, you can see 2 moderately sized jars, maybe like a 2 liters worth of black powdery substance fall at the creature's feet, about 5 feet from a lit torch. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, it is the other Lord's Guard members' turn. So there are now 2.
Wait, should I make my stealth check to go back into
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
to
Yes,
snipe
please.
and then continue to move forward? All right. Natural 2. 12. Or no, I'm sorry. I forgot that. Yeah, no. So that's below 0. So fail.
Okay. I'm just going to tell you that it knows where you are, and
All right.
it looks like it keeps wailing on the things at its feet.
Sure.
Okay. There are 2 Lord's Guards members left, one with a mace, one with a spear, minus the ones that are with Eigenmode's formation. So they all whiff except for the one that had the spear, and it tries to drive the spear hard into the creature's chest, and again, it looks like it pretty much gets deflected off. Okay, so the giant stone figure, we're going to call him Mercius now, since you made a knowledge and ability check. The statue of Mercius is focusing on Eigenmode, tries to bring a fist down on top of him.
Oh, I did want to point out, I had my mic muted the last time I tried to say this. The attack penalty from the mark does not apply to mindless creatures, anything without an intelligence score.
Okay.
Just in case that is relevant here.
Okay. So that is a 21 versus your AC.
21 versus my AC. What is my AC? He wondered aloud. My AC is 21. Meets it, beats it. So he hits me.
Okay. So the creature swings one arm, trying to basically just push you into the dirt with its big stone fist. And it would be 13 damage. You see one of the members with the Lord's Guard with the shield basically step in front of that and deflect it, but also take it on them. 22 versus your AC is a connection?
Yes, that is also a connection.
All right. That very same thing happens with the next windup. But basically, the Lord's Guard member can't bring up the shield in time, but they are committed, and they basically step in front of it and get their block knocked off. They basically fly about 10 feet into the air, and they sort of tumble to the ground with another sickening thud.
Okay.
So now there's just one with a shield next to you, and then the two that are in front. And the last attack.
It's like a non-magical mirror image.
It is. It's like a
It's
sack
the
of meat.
layman's mirror image.
Yeah.
That wasn't me that you hit, sucker.
That was a mundane mirror's image.
Yeah.
I cast cloud of NPC.
The Lord's Guard, the other one with the shield next to you, shouts the name Harius as the other figure just gets sort of launched into the air like a concerned sort of shout.
Yeah.
Um,
Hagen was going to shout medic as it happens, but not
just
lose
in his
focus.
robot voice, medic,
Medic!
medibot. All right, and then it does another attack on. It basically does another slam attack on one of the creatures with the Lord's Guard member with the spear in front, and just sort of knocks it to the side, not knocking it down, but knocking it off kilter.
Okay.
All right, it is Eigenmode's turn.
All right, so I'm tangling with it now. It's marked, it's cursed. I'm going to activate another maneuver that I haven't exhausted yet, called Cursed. What is it? Murderous Spite is the name of the maneuver, and you'll recognize this one since you played with Tome of Battle before. I'm going to step into Pugilist Stance as a swift action, and then I'm going to attack with Murderous Spite, which it allows me to make the next melee attack against a cursed opponent as a touch attack. So I've got that going for me.
I'll touch him all the way to the trash can.
Yeah, so I'm hitting his touch AC. This is stupid Stone Man's touch AC now. All right, here we go. Ooh, it's a good time to have used that. That's a total of 12.
That is a connection.
Yeah! It's like the dice knew to get the shit roll out of the way when I'm attacking its touch AC. 13 damage. This is affected by DR now, though.
Okay. So you once again strike the creature sort of towards the high thigh, and you can see those micro fissures start to pop and crackle. It looks like the creature is structurally compromised, but it just keeps on chugging away.
Okay.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna see if with what's left of my turn, if I can tell the guy with the shield to go fucking help his friend. I got this.
Yes. Yes, you
Okay.
can say something to that extent. Okay,
In character, it's like, yeah, go help him.
Okay, Ishan, it's your turn. That guy with the shield sort of looks to you and then looks back up at the creature. Make a sense motive check.
Well, let's see. It's
Get a hunch.
16 plus. Nope, that's just it. 16.
You get the sense that although that Lord's Guard member is troubled, they are basically not going to leave your side.
Okay.
Okay, it is Ishan's turn.
Okay, so I had how far away am I now?
You're about 20 feet away. You're behind a tent. You did the stealth check.
So here's a question.
I'm ready.
While trying to one as a player, I don't really know much about this particular enemy, but trying to maintain true to what my character would know with an intelligence score of 16, would it be reasonable for Ishan to observe whether or not people's piercing attacks are more effective than blunt attacks?
Yes, I think that's totally something that you would be able to perceive. And from the looks of it, it looks like pretty much anything that doesn't deal like a crushing type blow has been fairly ineffective.
And Eigen mode, you only did the DR thing like on one turn, right?
Yeah, but I'm doing unarmed attacks, so they are piercing and bludgeoning both.
Right. So his last round of punching seemed to have been equally as effective as the last. Would that be
Correct.
fair? Okay. I'll just loop around the back of it, I suppose, as a one movement action with my 35 feet since it's aware of me, and I can kind of discern that there's not too much to be gained from trying to be stealthy about it. Those jugs that you had mentioned, was that dropped behind it?
Basically, it's occupying the same square as it.
Okay. And there is a torch on the ground?
Yeah, it's about 5 feet away. It's pretty close. It's basically the black powder and the creature, then the torch, and then you in a line.
Okay. Trying to figure out what I want to do with drawing my weapon.
You have a short bow out right now, right?
Right. So as my movement of moving around, I will put the short bow away. I can do that while moving, right?
Yep.
And that would be the full movement then.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I'll move to the square where the torch is, and I'll use my remaining movement to pick the torch up.
Okay.
And I'll shout.
I think moving towards the torch. I mean, it's obviously going to put you through its threatened space.
Sure.
But also, I don't think you can pick up the torch. In the same round that you move to it. I think to pick up something.
Well,
off
I mean,
the
like my
ground,
initial 35, like one movement action is move 35 and put the bow away, ending on the square of the
I see what you're
torch,
saying.
and then the
Yeah, I
final
think it's a move
movement is
action.
picking the torch up.
Okay.
I think he's clear for this. That's all he does.
I
see
think
what you're
both
saying.
of those things, moving into the torch space would provoke an attack of opportunity, and I believe that picking something up off the ground does as well.
Right.
So I'll certainly make an acrobatics check to try to avoid the first hit.
Okay.
What DC do I have to pass with this?
You have to beat his combat modifier.
That's right. Okay.
His CMD, yeah.
Natural 20, which would be a 31.
Yep. Okay. So it doesn't look like it makes a swipe towards you or anything, but you stay on your toes and don't give it an opportunity.
All right, and then I'll pick the torch up. Does it get if I already provoked one attack of opportunity?
Well, let's clarify some things. Let's clarify.
Depends on whether or not. I think that you did the acrobatics stops you from provoking the attack. So
yeah, so it doesn't burn up an attack of opportunity. It just basically didn't get to take one, and you basically pick up the torch without a problem.
Okay, and then I guess while part of that, I'll shout to Eigenmode and the Lord's Guard, step back.
Okay. It is the Lord's Guard turn. They see you with the torch. You're right on the ass of this thing. It's so funny. So the Lord's Guard basically start to withdraw. The ones with the spears stay about. Now fuck it, they get out of there. They just get right out of there. One gets swiped with an attack of opportunity. We're in a new round, by the way. And it looks like as he's sort of withdrawing with the spear, he gets swiped and just gets knocked to the ground and is sitting there in sort of a huddle about 10 feet away from the creature. The other one with the mace withdraws, and you see the one with the shield kind of start to fall back and eyeball you, Eigenmode.
Yeah.
To indicate that you're falling back. So they're basically readying an action. Mercius is attacking one shot on. He's just gonna start swiping at anything close to him, which would be the one with the spear that was in front, and then Ishan. So Ishan, 17 versus your AC.
Does not connect.
And that one, these guys are taking. Oh, he has. Oh no, he's. Never mind. I can't say any of what I was thinking, but okay, I fixed my own problem. All right, so the one that was at the head of that spear formation.
Yeah.
Basically takes two of those big meaty paws, and you can pretty much see he gets decapitated by the crushing blows.
He catches these hands.
He catches those hands. Watch me outside. So now it's basically just one person with a mace who's backing away, and then the one with a sword and shield, the commander who is off to the side, and the one who threw the pots on the ground. But everybody appears to be outside of 10 feet except for Eigen mode.
There's a guy who got knocked down 10 feet away from this thing, right?
Yes. The one who just took the attack of opportunity.
Yeah. I'm gonna. Is he moving at a glance alive?
Make a perception check.
15.
He's got some bones sticking out of him.
Okay. But it's impossible to tell whether he's alive or not.
It is impossible.
Just in theory, just off the cuff, how far am I going to be able to move away if I grab him and move him with me?
Okay, so let's say you are 10 feet away from him and 10 feet away from this thing.
Yeah.
You would basically need to move to him and then grab him, and you wouldn't be able to move after. Basically, it would take too much time in a round.
Yeah. Then I'm going to fall back with the rest of the soldiers falling back.
Okay. And just to clarify, there's just basically one left with you, but that one's falling back.
He's also falling back, like right after me, right in the initiative queue.
Yep, falling back. So, how far are you moving back? You're in a threatened square right now, by the way. So, is there anything specific you want to do?
I'll tell you what. I'll make the acrobatics check to try to get away from it. Let me. How far are the other guys moving back? I'm going to stay in formation as best I can. That's how far I'm moving.
Also want to, just because we haven't played in a while and I've been reading through the rules a lot, I want to remind you guys that there is an option when you move to withdraw, which is a full round action, where you leave the first threatened square is treated as not threatened, and then you can move. Okay, you know that rule. All right, so you're going to make an acrobatics.
How much of your movement does it consume to do that?
It's basically a full round action. You get to move twice your speed, I think, but the first square you move doesn't count as being threatened when you move out of it.
It's like an anti-charge.
Pretty much. So that's how far the other guys are moving. Basically, my speed.
The one who's going to be moving with you is going to be moving right alongside you.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be my action then. Is I'm going to use withdraw to get away from. Actually, the guy next to me is moving after me, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to delay until right after him to let him go first, and then I will withdraw.
Okay. Make a profession soldier check.
Ooh, that's going to be 16.
All right. You are very easily able to communicate that both in words, but in the standards of soldiery.
Yeah.
So that Lord's Guard member basically pulls back, and then you do so immediately afterwards. And now, Ishan, there are corpses underneath this thing. You see a mound of black powdery stuff at its feet, and a torch in your hand. You're 5 feet from this thing.
Alrighty. So, what's off the cuff? What would be my... If I throw this thing, how does that count as a thrown?
I'm basically going to treat it as a ranged attack with your base attack bonus and your dex modifier versus AC 10, because I think AC 10 is like a...
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm going for a specific square on the ground. It's not like I'm trying to hit, a moving target or even a sentient thing.
Basically,
the AC to hit a square is either 5 or 10. I don't remember, but
okay.
It's about that.
So here's what I'm gonna do to withdraw in my own cool way. And what would be my range on that before I would start taking penalties?
Withdrawing?
The
torch. Let's say it has a range increment of 10. So you could throw it at 20, and it would just be like a -2 penalty.
Okay. 10 is fine. So I'm actually going to expend 1 key point and use Vanishing Trick to turn invisible, which is a swift action. And the light source of the torch actually turns invisible with me, because if a light source is affected by invisibility, it will only become visible again once it leaves my person, such as once I throw it.
You're like Frodo.
I run up and do a little Naruto ninja one-handed thing with my index and middle finger and disappear completely, as well as the source of light with it. And I will back up about 10 feet And I
Okay.
guess right there stop me if he would see me and hit me with an attack of opportunity or not.
If for all you can tell, he does not make an attempt on you. It looks like he's going to start moving towards Eigen mode and the Lord's Guard. Move his next one.
All right. Once I guess actually I'd go 15 feet out. So I guess I'd still be taking a penalty then for throwing over 10 feet, right?
I
want to make sure that I have 2 squares in between me and the torch. Me and the pile.
To do just a square that is unobstructed, it's AC 5. So.
Oh, okay, sweet. Then I'll move 20 feet back.
It would be the same range penalty for either. So
yeah,
because
you're 20 feet back and a -2 penalty, and I will throw the torch at the thing. And vision is not a concern. I do have dark vision 60 feet, so that should not affect me either.
Okay.
Since I've technically extinguished the source of light momentarily. Well, I rolled a natural 18, so
yeah, I think you're good.
It connected.
Okay, would you roll 6d6 for me, please?
Sweet, yes. $20 damage.
Okay. So the pretty much as soon as the torch gets close enough to exert any heat on the black powdery substance, there's a chain reaction and a large thunderous explosion happens. You can see anything that was in that 10-foot area is pretty much blasted away. And you can see the large stone creature sort of buckle and waver for a second. And as that initial blast clears and the smoke clears, you can see that its leg has been completely blown out and that it is essentially just crumbled down to piles of rocks off to the side. Dirt and dust flies everywhere. It is enough to make you sort of cover your own eyes. And then after the ringing of your ears goes away, you survey the area and you don't hear or feel any more of that thunderous movement that creature was making. So that's out of combat, and I don't mean to cut it right there, but I think that's a good stopping point.
I think so.
I would agree.
Okay, so I'm gonna do experience now. Thing a lot today. Because every time, and I love you, Justin, and if you're listening to this, I love you, but every time I have to take my old material and put it off to the side, I make new material and then I get writer's block. So I do a lot of back and forth on my notes. So the person who made me laugh the hardest today, I think, was Matt on making an impromptu intimidate check, and John's role playing was great, working towards that Morag Tong thing. So you both get 50% of the progress you need from level 4 to level 5. I think that's 5,000 experience.
We'll double check that real quick.
I think 5,000 is how much you need because it goes 1,000 at 3,000. No, I'm off.
No, it's totally different in Pathfinder, I think, anyway. They just fucked up the numbers just enough to make it, not a copyright infringement. Worthy. Yeah. So if we're on the medium track, then it's 4 to 5 is 9,000 to 15,000, so it'd be 3,000.
Okay, there you go. That's 50%, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
That's 50% of the way from 4 to 5. It's 9,000. It's 3,000 experience.
Very good. Does anybody? We're gonna probably touch on this later. We're probably going to either talk about it out of game, or if we have to do another Robo Ninja session, we'll pick it up right here where we left off. Does anybody have anything they want to tell me right now so that I won't forget it and I can write it down in my notes?
This was something I was considering earlier today as sort of a joke after the exchange with the contrived exchange with the Lord's Guard in the forest to try to suss out why they wanted to join the sign. But I was thinking okay, I'm going to follow up on this by pretending to join the Lord's Guard. But, here we are, completely earnest, fighting side by side. So that's nice.
Psychic Brothers stuff. Ishan, any thoughts?
I will definitely make any extra attempts I can in this moment to disguise the fact that I have the mark on my forehead.
All right.
So if you want me to make an actual disguise check, I can.
That would be great. Why don't you go ahead and do that right now?
Sure. I have it untrained, but it is a class ability. I probably should put a rank in that. I would have gotten 3 extra points. Ooh, 6.
Okay, so we're going to leave it there.
All right.
Who wants to do words of wisdom for this session?
Oh, I think
initiative.
I think I've got the words of wisdom.
Give me
for
the words
today.
of wisdom here, please.
If you want to disguise a mark on your forehead, then any hat is a hat of disguise.
It's very good. I like that very much. Well, thanks anybody who is watching. We will see you all next time for the next episode.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.